Hey, my friends, it's Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast, and Judas Iscariot is still a head-scratching mystery. His behavior looks erratic and weird and unpredictable and almost beyond human explanation. We have got to keep picking at this thing to try to get even the slightest sense of understanding what he might have been going for. I think we're getting close to a point where we might need to cheat and go and look at some of the other Gospels and see what they say about him, what he was going for, to see if we can figure it out. I'm going to have Jeff play some music, and then we're going to get after it. I think from a human perspective, the best possibility to explain this kind of radical, desperate behavior would just be that the pressure cooker of Jerusalem was too much. Pretty much everybody else on Team Jesus is Galilean. I think the sons of Zebedee, it sounds like they had done well enough through the history of their family to have a property in Jerusalem, but they're still Galilean through and through. Judas, I mean, he's a southerner. He's a little more familiar with the cosmopolitan nature of Jerusalem. He's always been a little bit of an outsider in this way, and he's going to be a little more intimidated and also a little more keen on looking good in this neck of the woods. I think the most compelling human explanation for what's going on with Judas is that it's likely that he always felt like an outsider within the group. There's not scholarly consensus, but I think a reasonable argument that his last name, Iscariot, that last name is a little bit of a stretch, but I think you know what I'm saying, is an indicator that he was associated with a small community in the region of Jerusalem. His name itself, Judas, a lot of people were named Judas at this point because their parents were trying to honor Judas Maccabees, the heroes of yore. And you name a young person this, it's kind of a reminder of where we were just a little bit ago, and we had to stand up to the European overlord not so long ago. Maybe we'll need to again now. It was a very popular name, but it was a particularly popular name in and around Jerusalem, Iscariot. Some people who are better at Hebrew than me and way smarter about this stuff suggest that Iscariot links him to the community of Kerioth, or Keriot, I guess it is, which is, again, it's in Judea, it's around Jerusalem. Well, everybody else is from up north. Maybe this Judas is just an outsider. He feels weird socially and culturally. There would have been enough difference there. Maybe Judas feels a little bit superior. He's from Fancyville, and everybody else is from Hickville. Maybe Judas went to school with some people who live in Jerusalem, and maybe the whole Jesus thing for him was kind of go back and stick a thumb in the eye of his classmates at the graduating class reunion, kind of cathartic fantasy that he carried with him. And like, I'm going to show all of you people, I placed my bets with Jesus and they are going to turn out. And he rolls into Jerusalem. He's like, this looks like it's going to work. I'm going to look great. I've been firing letters back and forth with these chumps who bullied me in school. And then he gets closer to Jerusalem, the whole way Jesus is like, no, I'm totally going to die. And maybe more and more Judas was thinking, I've painted myself into a terrible corner. I'm going to look like an idiot in basically my hometown. The walls are going to close in on me. Maybe the best I can hope for is just humiliation in front of people I'd like to impress. Maybe what I actually need to be mentally preparing for is going down with Jesus. Am I going to get killed here? Nah, forget this. Judas looks out for one guy only, and that is Judas. And if 30 pieces of silver is all I'm getting for this one, look, I just won an out, and I am willing to accept a terrible deal here. And it's not about the money. The money just seals the deal and makes it clear that this is an actual contract with the religious leaders, so we have some kind of record of it, and they know not to come down on me when they come down on him. I don't know. I'm reading between the lines an awful lot there, obviously, but that's my best attempt at a human explanation for what went wrong here. Look, a lot of you have been seeing this one coming from a mile away as we've been having these 4 days of conversation, trying to figure out what Judas was going for, what the money was about, all of that. The Bible makes it really clear that his motivation is difficult to explain humanly because it's not an entirely human explanation. There is a profound spiritual element to what is going on in Judas's decision-making process that is even, it could be said, beyond Judas himself, because both John and Luke use very specific language to talk about what happened when Judas ultimately made this decision to sell Jesus out. In Luke 22:3, it says, "Now the feast of unleavened bread called the Passover was approaching, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And then all the stuff we've been talking about unfolds. John 13, I did not remember this. I had to look that one up. 27 says, "As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him." So this is the scene where Jesus is like, all right, one of you is going to betray me, and it's the one to whom I will give this piece of bread when I've dipped it in this dish. Then he dips it and he gives it to Judas Iscariot. And instead of Judas Iscariot being like, what? No, come on. I'm probably not going to do that. Instead, Judas took the bread. Satan enters into him. Jesus is like, what you're about to do quickly. And nobody at the meal understands why Jesus said that. And then Judas is like, and I am out of here. And that was it. We haven't solved the problem of Judas's motivations yet, but we're getting much closer. We just got a ways to go, and I want to take my time and do it right. So we're going to pause there. We're going to pick it up next time around. Thanks a ton to everybody who supports the program at patreon.com/the TMBH podcast. Literally, I cannot state this strongly enough. This whole thing exists because of you and could not exist without you. You're awesome. Thank you a ton. You're all awesome. I love doing this. We'll catch you next time. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.